Welcome to Art of Wellness Unscripted, the podcast where we dive deep into holistic health, real conversations, and the journey to living your best, most vibrant life. I'm your host, Amara Tiller, and each week we'll explore the art and science of wellness with inspiring guests, expert insights, and practical tips you use every day. Today I have a special guest. Her name is, I know we went over your name, but I'm afraid I'm going to say it wrong. Helena Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And you are a holistic practitioner?
I am. I'm a holistic health practitioner.
Awesome. When I saw your bio that you sent me, how you used to be a respiratory therapist.
I did. That was my first idea in life because I was asthmatic as a kid. I had allergies and asthma. And so when I got into college, I really, like most kids, that don't know what they're going to do. And I got a job with a dermatologist. And he said, Helena, if you have asthma so bad, why don't you become a respiratory therapist? I didn't really know that even existed, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did. And I worked mostly in the greater Lansing area, a local hospital, for close to 20 years. And about 10 years in is when I discovered that something was very broken in the healthcare industry. And what I mean by that is, the patients that I was taking care of, we'd tune them up and, we'd give them steroids and breathing treatments and all the things, inhalers, send them home. And then they'd come right back within a month or two with the same exact situation, if not worse. And their pharmaceutical bag of drugs went from maybe a quart-sized bag to a gallon-sized bag over a span of a few years. Because we know that drugs have side effects, and then you have, you come in with lung problems, and then next thing you know, you've got heart problems. Next thing you know, you're diabetic, and next thing you know, your kidneys are failing. And then, over the years, you get to know these people really well. You get to know their families, and then they come in respiratory failure. You have to put them on life support, and 2 weeks later, they have the choice: do you keep them alive, or do you let them go? And it got to be very disheartening. And I came to realize that I personally did not want to end up like the people I was taking care of, right? And I didn't know how to not. So I started dabbling in natural ways to get a body well. And then my aunt got sick with lung cancer, and that kind of hyper sped it up. Like I was really super focused, and needless to say, she didn't receive any of the advice that I was giving her well. And it was basically too late for her, and she lost her life. But that started my journey. I just started dabbling, learning as much as I could about every aspect of health, including the vaccine schedule and all the things. And so fast forward, I got married in my early 30s, had my first child within that first couple years, and she did well. She was a premature baby, though. She was 2 pounds 14 ounces, and that was another wake up call for this mom. Because I couldn't understand why I can't make a person, right? Like, why did I fail at this? I felt like a failure. And not to drag it out too much, but thankfully she did really well. She was in the NICU for 3 weeks, and I got to take her home. Fast forward to kindergarten, and her teacher says that she's wetting her pants, and she's sending home her extra clothing out of the blue, just wetting her pants. So like any good mom, I take her to the pediatrician, right? And they did a urinalysis, and it was negative. My medical mind was all over that. Like, that's definitely symptoms of a UTI, but they wouldn't treat it because it didn't show up on urinalysis. So the doctor writes a note for her to go every 2 hours on a schedule. They're just guessing. Maybe there's something emotionally going on at school, whatever. Well, that didn't work because she wanted to go every 10 minutes, So it's disruptive to her learning into the classroom in itself, because she's interrupting every 10 minutes. And so a week or so later, I take her back to the pediatrician. Again, they do another urinalysis, and again, it's negative. I'm completely frustrated at this point, and I'm feeling pretty helpless, rather. And so they send us to peds urology out at MSU. And if you know anything about how to how long it takes to get into a specialist's office, right?
Oh, yeah.
So by the time I got there with her, it's been a month. I can't get from the south side of town to the west side without her crying at me because she's got to go. The urgency and the pain was so bad, and she was miserable. And so I go to this specialist's office, and they let me give me a heads up. They have to do a physical exam down there. So I had about 5 minutes to discuss with her why somebody has to look down there when her whole life, since she could comprehend, I'm telling her nobody gets to, right? So I knew that obviously nothing anatomically was wrong, but I did understand why they had to look, I guess. But they did also a urinalysis, and again, it was negative. And the doctor says, it could be A, B, C, or D. I mean, he just kind of went down the list of things that it could possibly be. He gave me no solutions. He gave me a chart, actually, to fill out. It was really bizarre. He wanted me to document when she got up in the morning, what time she poops, all this weird stuff. I'm like, how is this going to help? And so needless to say, I left there very frustrated. And I never made that return appointment, which, by the way, he told me to come back in a month. Mind you, it's already been a month and I have no solutions. And he was like, come back in a month. So I never made that appointment. What I did do is, because of my desire to get healthier and seeking out, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, and one in particular of a doctor, and he's a chiropractor and a naturopath, and he did this weird thing called muscle testing. And I was absolutely fascinated by his videos. He was very blunt. He did not beat around the bush. I was very attracted to the way he just tell it like it is kind of guy. And at one point I did look him up because he was mentioning places that sounded familiar, and I thought, where is this guy from? Is he in Michigan? And sure enough, he is. Okay, so I called his office the very next day, made an appointment for the following week for my daughter. We went down there after school on a Thursday. We did the weird muscle testing, right? The thing that's so weird, but it's okay because it works. And he put her on whole food supplements. I think there were 3. We started them that next Friday. By Tuesday of the following week after that, so it's only been a few days, I asked her teacher when I picked her up, I said, hey, how's the bathroom thing going? And she said, you know what, since you mentioned it, today was a lot better. And I'm like, great. And by the end of that week, that Friday, my kid was 100% better. So that for me turned a light on in my head. And when we went to a return visit, I asked the doc flat out, with my background, do I have the, do I have the skills to be able to do this work? Am I qualified is what I was really looking for. And he said, absolutely, I think so. And so he sent me in the direction that I needed to go to get the training because I didn't want to do anything else. That was the thing. And so it was a long journey because it's not, you don't get training for this at a university, for instance. You don't get student loans. You have to take out personal loans. I borrowed from my 401k. I mean, I don't know how we did it when I look back because it was very expensive, but it was worth every penny. And so I have been practicing in this area, in the greater Lansing area, for 8 years professionally, 10 years total with training. I take care of my family in this manner, myself, some of my colleagues. So it's been a true blessing, honestly. So that's my story. That's who I am, why I'm here. So
I love that when I saw in your bio that you sent and it mentioned respiratory therapists, it kind of gave me chills. It made me excited because I currently work for a durable medical equipment company that provides CPAP machines, ventilators. And so I work with a respiratory therapist. And I tried talking to them about how correcting mouth breathing at a young age could prevent people from needing CPAP machines as adults. They think I'm crazy.
No, for sure.
I even give them the proof, and it doesn't matter what I show them. Yeah, and then like COVID, I mean, these are the people that should master this, right? They don't even realize that COVID binds to nicotine receptors. They don't want to talk about that.
They don't talk about any of that. I have good friends still that work at the hospital, and you can't talk about it
No.
with them. They shut you right down. Even the mask thing.
Yeah.
You know, I have a good friend who was once my patient, and she's got some conflict in her mind about, well, I guess in her personal life in regards to what I do. So she's conflicted. She wants my care, but her, significant other is a bit,
Yeah.
But in her mind, the masking did work because she is a teacher and she had students that were in the hospital, and I get it. It was a terrifying time for everybody, and I don't blame any of them for what they went through and how they had to handle it, because I was around I worked in the hospital during the Ebola crisis back in the day, and we had all this training, and the government sent us a bunch of ventilators and all of this stuff, and it was all for nothing. Like, literally, how do we put on these suits and all the things, and it was all for nothing, right? It was all a big freak out session, lots of money wasted. But I get it, they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Really. And I'm over here thinking about when I did use a mask in the hospital. That was during a sterile procedure. Yeah. If I had to clean equipment, for sure, because it was so toxic to breathe it in, I always wore a mask. And or if I had to go to surgery or go into the cath lab or whatever. But never. I went into the sickest of rooms and never wore a mask because it wasn't effective. It wasn't necessary. And it was bizarre to me that they still to this day believe that the masks helped. I'm like, okay, but here I am rebreathing my own CO2.
Yes.
For the first and suppressing the oxygen. It's supposed to be 21%, right? In the air. We're breathing and needing 21% oxygen. So if I'm, especially the N95 mask, if I'm wearing that, I'm not only rebreathing my own CO2, but I'm depleting or diluting the oxygen level that I'm getting. It just didn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm all washed up. I've been wrong many times before. However, that to me didn't make sense. And here we are in 2025, and people are still wearing masks. What we did to people back then it's detrimental. My own mother-in-law will not come out the house to even just a family gathering without a mask. And that breaks my heart, right? I don't want her to spend the rest of her life in fear like that. Here we are.
Yeah, I know some people that still, my father passed away this past November from suicide, unfortunately.
Sorry to hear that.
And when he passed, I found his vaccine card, and he got 6 of those.
Wow. And
after each one, I progressively witnessed his mental health decline with each one he received.
Got it.
He went into a psychosis. But yeah, there was people who wouldn't even come to the funeral because they're too scared to leave their house.
Yeah, it's sad. I can't prove it, but I believe I lost an aunt to the vaccine. She'd only taken 2, but according to my mother, she didn't do well with either one of those, and then she just didn't wake up one day.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's challenging to look back at that and not have a little bit of shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Like, if I had only been a little louder, if I only, informed my family a little bit more, who knows? Try not to live there, Yeah,
I tried really hard to. My dad receiving his first one, I would say, and what I witnessed, the shift in his mental, it ignited something in me to figure out as much as I possibly can of what's really true. Trying to out of desperation, Yeah. And it's no matter what proof I showed, it didn't matter. And then I feel it took until my mom had a reaction. Well, she fainted, collapsed, and had a heart issue and reaction to the vaccine. So she hasn't gotten one since then. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, in our clinic or our office, we've dealt with vaccine injury.
Yeah.
Even before the COVID vaccines, I've had parents bring me their kid. I had a kid one time that was The mom pretty much knew it was MMR, but she couldn't prove it, right? But she felt the shift and the change happened after that vaccine.
Yeah.
And she brought her son to me because he wasn't speaking properly, and he was old enough. I think he was 3 at the time, and he had 2 speech pathologists that he saw. And she said, I know it's the vaccine. Are you able to help me? And I said, oh, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to figure it out if I can. And so with the muscle testing, the beauty of muscle testing is we have tools that allow us to identify what is in the body that does not belong, right? What's there that doesn't belong. And then we find a solution, right? It's not a guessing game. It comes directly from the patient's body, exactly what they need. And then we get the exact dose that they need. And then they start on the program. And guess what? The body does what it's supposed to do, heal itself. And I can scream it from the rooftops. And a lot of people, even though they know if they cut their finger, it's going to heal, right? Even surgeons know if they cut you open and sew you back up, it will eventually heal, right? But they don't believe that their body can heal itself because they don't see it, right? They just don't know what they don't know about how deficient we are and how toxic we are. And the toxins in our environment, it's a daily task. You literally, no longer are the days that you could just not prioritize your health and be well. My grandmother was 96 when she died. I think she would still be here today had she not fallen and broken her back. But she never had to prioritize her health. And she had her faculties. She would repeat herself once in a while, but she always knew who I was, and you could have conversations with her. So for that age, I thought she was doing great, right? And she was on like 1 medication for heart or something. But the majority of her life, she ate real food, right? My grandmother, the majority of her life, McDonald's was not on every corner. Nobody went to Starbucks and got fruit coffees every morning. Nobody, they just times were different, and people ate off the land and from the land and from animals and all the things. And so, but we don't have that luxury anymore. We've done it to ourselves. We've poisoned our environment and our food so badly that if you're not actively prioritizing your health, meaning eating well, moving well, thinking well, that's my belief. That's all 3 have to be in check to be truly healthy. You're going to lose. Eventually, you're going to die early, and you're going to leave your family. And I hate to be that morbid, but this is the truth. This is what I see in the community. You're going to die early, and you're going to leave your family with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, right? What could they have done? What could you have done? Whatever. That's just the reality. Or perhaps you do get older, but you're losing your mind, right? We know that's on the rise. And you end up in a facility in a diaper, and you don't know your loved ones when they come to see you, right? That's a choice. You have that choice. Or you can do what I do, and what we believe in is eating well, moving well, thinking well. And, it's not 100% guarantee I could get smucked out on Saginaw like a lot of people do and end up in the hospital and paralyzed or something. You know what I'm saying? I could be disabled. But within my power, what I'm going to do is I'm going to always detox. I'm going to always nutrient dose myself and eat real food and drink clean water. That's the best chance I got. So I'm going to do it, right? My why is that I do not want to be a burden to my children or my husband for that matter. I don't. And again, it's not guaranteed, but I'm going to do whatever I can do, what I know to do to help myself along.
Absolutely.
To make sure that if I'm to have that type of, longevity and quality of life, then I'm going to put forth whatever effort I have to.
I have a 13-year-old son.
Nice.
And when he was, I'm trying to remember, I believe it was a 3-month, or maybe it was before the 6 months vaccines, but I believe it was a 3-month. And when I took him home, he slept for probably 16 hours, just a dramatic amount that scared me. And then when he woke up, he was throwing up.
Yeah.
And then he got really sick, and he lost a bunch of weight. He lost that crease in his wrist.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So my intuition was stop. Thankfully his dad was aligned with it. And but I had to keep it a secret from my mom because she worked for DHS.
A lot of people do.
And she reported, she threatened to report me to CPS for stop vaccinating him.
Oh dear.
So I kept it a secret, and I didn't admit until COVID, when everyone was talking about the COVID vaccine. I'm like, well, you wonder why Liam's so healthy and why Liam's so amazing and his personality, and he's just happy. It's because he's not receiving those.
Yeah.
And
my daughter, who's 18 now, the one with the bladder problem, you know, I didn't know what I didn't know about vaccines. And when she was born, all I knew back then was the mercury. That's all I knew. And so I always chose single dose vials for her because that's what a friend of mine, we discussed, a coworker at the time. That was best. That's all I knew. And I can kick myself for not looking further into it, because had I known, she wouldn't have gotten anything. But remember, I said she was in the NICU for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And what I discovered after the fact, when the health department sends you the letter that says, you know, your schedule, if you're up to date or not, right? What I discovered on week 2 of being NICU, they had given her the hepatitis B vaccine. And I didn't realize it.
Freaking 2 pounds?
Yes. Yes. So I was keeping notes, right, from day to day. And so what I had done, because I remembered there was one day that I came to be with her, and her belly was super distended, and she was fussy, and it freaked me out. And I asked the nurse what's going on, and they had done a flat plate x-ray of her abdomen, and everything looked fine. And I'm like, this is not fine. And for several days after that, she was spitting up a lot, and a lot more fussy. But I didn't know that they had done that at the time, because they didn't ask me, right? They just did it. And I didn't know enough to know that they did that to newborn babies at the time. I had no idea until I see this health record vaccine record from the health department. And I went back to my notebook, and the exact less than 24 hours after she had gotten that was when I documented that her abdomen was bloated, and she was fussy and spitting up, and I got so angry. And I think that at that point, well, this was several years after that, you know, that I get this note. So she was not in the NICU anymore, but I was so angry.
Yeah.
And at that point, she had already had a lot of the schedule, you know, once I realized that. Not the mercury, but plenty of aluminum and polysorbate 80 and you know, aborted fetal tissue and monkey kidneys and everything else, right? She'd already had it. So my second kid came along, and he did not, well, let me rephrase that. I refused the hepatitis B vaccine for him in the hospital. And so I thought we were good. Lo and behold, I find out again from the health department at the letter that they had given it to him anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So yeah. But he's the least vaccinated of my 2 children. And so I'm glad I woke up. And you know, the day I went in for his well baby check, I had all my bullet points ready to have a good discussion with the doctor about why I was stopping.
Oh yeah.
I was prepared for everything. And I laid it out to him, and I said, and so if there's anything else that you know that I don't know that is important on my decision, please let me know. And the only thing the pediatrician said to me was, because the American Academy of Pediatrics says I should. That was his only.
That's all he can say.
That's all. That's all he could. He had no talking points to convince me otherwise. So I knew I was on the right track. And I never put another shot in my kid after that.
Yeah.
Never. And I've had to sit through way too many health department, you know, education sessions. And I try really hard. It's not their fault. I try really hard to keep my filter on, because those 1-pagers just anger me, because they don't tell the true story. So
I have a 1,700-page binder that a mother made that has every single.
Oh yeah, I have that same one.
Oh nice.
I do. I have that same one. I paid for her to ship it to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what people should be getting and taking that to the pediatrician, because
Yeah.
I had actually a friend who did that, and her pediatrician at the end asked her how he could get his own copy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's a success right
That
there.
is really a win. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I was just listening to Aaron Siri. He's a lawyer for
Okay.
ICanDecide.org, and
Ooh.
I send them money every month because I really love what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
winning. They're, you know, suing the federal government,
Yes.
which is what they need to do.
Yeah.
But Aaron he was just talking about, you know, the vaccine schedule, the childhood vaccine schedule, what happened back in 1986 when they
Yeah.
you know, there were
liability shield.
probably there were probably like 6 manufacturers of vaccines prior to that, and children only got 3 back then. But they were causing so much harm, right? That's why they went to Congress and said, you know, we're going to go out of business if you don't help us. And so they gave them immunity to liability. And but with the agreement that every 2 years they were going to work on the safety of the vaccine, make them safer, and submit a report every 2 years. And Aaron 6 years ago sued the government for that data, and it turns out that they never did it. They never submitted not one paper or report on how safety has improved.
Wow.
Not one. And as we know, since then, the vaccine schedule shot through the roof. Now we're like, if you add the COVID shots in there, it's like 100 vaccines. Yeah. Something crazy like that.
Have you seen the videos about the COVID vaccines being looked at under a microscope and what's in there?
Yeah, yeah.
The parasite, I guess you consider a parasite?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, I've heard that before of just routine vaccines. Yeah. If I'm being honest.
Yes.
I don't have the facts on that. I mean, I guess I don't have any reason not to believe those people. Right. Especially a few of them that I, you know, have learned a lot from over the years that have looked. I don't know. But the reality is, you know, we could talk about parasites all day long. Yeah. But that's what I tend to specialize in. I don't know why, but people are drawn to me that have parasite infestations, if you want to say it. I don't know. I don't like to call it infections because then I'm too diagnosing, right? I don't diagnose people. I just find out what nutritional deficiencies they have and what organs are being affected. And then I find solutions all the while still allowing them to detox what's in them that don't belong, including parasite. You know, it's not a diagnosis. It just is what it is, right? It's a reality for a lot of people. And in my world, anything can cause anything. And so just having someone on your team that can find the root cause to dis-ease, you know, I don't want to not ever have. In fact, I would love for my children to learn how to muscle test because I know I'm not going to be here forever. And I want them to be able to have that tool under their belt. I haven't convinced either of them yet that that's a good idea. But we'll see. Hopefully someday that they'll take me up on that offer.
I taught my son a little bit. I taught him by using the cell phone to prove how it makes you weaker. And he went to school and he was doing tricks in the lunchroom.
Yeah. My first experience with muscle testing was in the small class at the doctor's office that I had taken her first to. I didn't even know my clinic was here. I had no idea it even existed back then. So, but my first experience was with an apple and a cigarette. They gave us all an apple and a cigarette. And we learned, you know, you hold the apple and you're strong, you hold the cigarette and you're weak. Yeah. Wow. You know, that was my first experience. But I literally am in love with what I get to do. Yeah. It's a joyful obligation for me to help the community because what I see in our community, and I mean, I know we're no different than any other community, but this is my community. What I see are people developing diseases at a rapid pace.
Very young too.
I see huge, and I just did a video on this yesterday. I haven't posted it yet, but on autoimmunity, right? Like it's so bad. And it's younger. Like people are sicker at a much younger age now. than I would expect. And I've only been doing this for 10 years, but then I do still have the medical experience that I have. But it just feels like young mothers particularly, they can barely take care of their families. They're just so sick. They're weak, they're tired all the time, they have chronic pain like headaches, and they just, they just don't know what they don't know. And I just pray that, more of them find me, because that's my key age group that I like to handle, because it spreads, is the moms, right? Yeah. 35 to 55, particularly that age group, because that's right around 35 is right around when things start really falling apart. People become really symptomatic. And if you can get the mama well, it trickles down to the babies. And that's my goal. Mm-hmm. That's my goal. And my colleagues would say the same thing, that we're looking for families to get better, not just mom, but Mama Bear is the one primarily who's buying the food and feeding the kids, right? And handling all the things, right? Mama Bear does that. And if Mama Bear's not well, it affects the entire family. Yep. But when she is well, it also affects the entire family, right? And so we're trying, we meaning me and my colleagues, there's many of us across the country, right? But there's never enough of us at the same time. Our goal is to start a domino effect of health within families instead of sickness. Right now we're failing. 54% or something like that of our kids are chronically ill. That means one or more diagnoses. That's a fail. Mm-hmm. So our health department, God love them, but what are they doing for us? Why do we need them? What are they doing? Mm-hmm. They're failing us, if we're being honest. Yeah. So I've got a lot of frustration, I'll put it that way, with our health department. I don't think we need it.
Oh, I agree with you.
I think they can go bye-bye, especially through the COVID thing, when they on the radio every day and in the malls and all the things. They funded a bunch of propaganda to get even pregnant women to get those shots, knowing damn well they were not tested,
not studied,
and they were not safe. And here we are in a serious population decline. Yeah. The average American woman now is having 1 to 1.2 babies in their life, where it used to be like 4.
Yeah. And that can't sustain population over time.
No, it can't. And most people, they're just too worried about this or that. They don't even care to look at it. And then, since COVID, our miscarriage rate has been up, our stillbirth rate through the roof. I don't understand it,
Have you been following any of the work by Dr. Jack Kruse about light and circadian biology and how damaging blue light is? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That to me is like really fascinating.
Yeah, in fact, I'm slowly but surely changing what light fixtures in my house I can change to incandescent lights. Yeah. Our lamp in my living room is an incandescent light bulb. I almost ordered on Amazon last night 6 more for my son. Is got a new bedroom we refurbished down in the basement for him, and he's got the can lights, and I just want the incandescent for him. And but yes, it's terrible to your circadian rhythm and your hormones. Yeah. I try to tell my patients, get out and walk in the morning sun and the evening sun. That red light is therapeutic. It resets your mitochondria, recharges your melatonin. I mean, it just helps with insulin resistance to get out there and walk. And some of them do, and some of them just don't. They just can't seem to work it in their schedule or whatever. But it's very therapeutic. Very therapeutic, especially if you have a stressful life, right? If stress is a big factor for you, you got to get out and walk. Walking definitely decreases your cortisol.
Do you guys have any red light therapy at your center?
Not in the clinic. I do have at home. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have what's called a Soluma light at home. But yeah, definitely recommend red light therapy for people. Even the boxes, just the red light therapy box for people, they're pretty inexpensive.
I have a membership with Pacific Sun and Wellness. It used to be like just a tanning, but now they're doing like wellness stuff.
Oh, good.
So they have like a full body red light bed.
Nice.
And I, during the winter I was doing it regularly, and then I
Mhm.
stopped because I was worried about the EMFs that it gives off.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, until I do like a live blood analysis to know what's really better, I was going to hold off. Well, I noticed like a little bit of weight gain, more muscle aches. So out of like just desperation, I went back to using it, and I noticed a difference.
Yeah.
If I do 15 minutes in the full body thing, afterwards I can flex muscles that I didn't have the strength to flex before that session.
Interesting.
There's no herb that does that for
Yeah.
me, like that dramatic.
Yeah.
I've even used it when I had a UTI.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it went away.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is good to
Yeah.
know. When I say we don't have red light therapy, we technically do, not a setup like that though.
Mhm.
We do have cold laser therapy, which is red and blue light,
Mhm.
and we set certain frequencies, and we use that for scar healing, for brain traumas, for whatever. We have that as well.
Nice.
But not the big setup like that.
Yeah.
It would be nice. It would be nice.
Do you see in your practice where you're muscle testing and it's EMFs that are harming them that you're discovered from muscle testing?
Yeah, I show people all the time when they come in with their smartwatches and their phones on themselves. So usually if they have a smartwatch on, when I'm checking their nervous system with the muscle testing, it makes them confused. Their nervous system is confused. And I show them, and then I have them take it off, and then we test again, and I see every time you're wearing that, your nervous system is confused, meaning the autonomic nervous system's not going to regulate properly. It has to regulate like this, right? The parasympathetic and the sympathetic, they upregulate opposite each other. And if one of them's confused, then, is my patient going to heal properly?
Right.
Probably not, because that's a confusion. It's a lack of proper communication between the brain and the body back to the brain.
Right.
And so I do usually send them to a website to get proven protection if they've got to wear it.
Yeah.
And I prove it to them with the muscle testing. And I don't ever recommend any EMF protection that isn't proven with muscle testing.
Right.
Because I don't know any other way to prove it. You can read the data from the company. But for me, I'm going to prove it with the muscle testing. So that's what I try to encourage my patients to do, that with not only their watches, but their phone, right? And I think about it, how much radiating you're getting, radiating yourself with not only the watch, but then you have the phone, and then you put your AirPods in.
Yes.
Let's be honest, right? Like, I think it's all by design.
It is.
I think the powers that be at Apple and Samsung could make products that are much less deadly or toxic to us. And it's a big deal. Grounding, people, you got to ground at the very least. You need to get a grounding sheet on your bed, or stand on the ground every day, 15-20 minutes at least, because we're just bathed in it, right? Yeah. People don't realize how much of what they experience with their health is directly linked to that, I don't think.
I notice my car, like if I drive up to my school's in Mount Pleasant, so when I make that drive, sometimes it's an hour and a half. By the time I get there, I feel weird. And I think it's from all the electronics in my car, because I have a newer BMW, and so it's got all those bells and whistles. Sure. And man, I'm to the point where I kind of want to get rid of that car because I feel weird.
They do have car protectors. You can get car protectors. I would go to.
Does it plug in I don't have a cigarette lighter. So.
I'm not sure. Because I don't have one for my car. I've always meant to get one, but I don't really have one. I'm not sure if it just sits in your car, or maybe it goes, how some of the newer cars have the computer screen that you can actually put a sticker on the back of it. I don't know. I'd have to look at the website again and see. We used to carry a lot of that stuff in our office, and we don't anymore for whatever reason.
I even brought my EMF meter in my car, and I had it on the whole way to school. And when you're driving along the highway and those towers, it spikes up.
Sure.
Every time you see a tower, one of those towers. And
you know what I've always wondered is why in this area, because I turn the 5G off on my phone. So when I'm here in this area, my phone does not say 5GE. Okay. When I go to Detroit or Grand Rapids, 5GE pops up on my phone. So what that tells me is we've got the 5G towers. I see them all over town, right?
Yeah. So we're not fully set up, maybe.
Are they not on?
Yeah.
They must not be on.
Huh.
And what's going to happen when they turn them on? That's what I'm scared of, right? Like,
we're just like, have you heard about the new Van Allen's belt? There's like a third one that created from all the EMFs that we're doing.
No.
So basically, yeah, Dr. Jack Cruz was talking about this. So basically, it's turning us into like a huge microwave because it's not allowing it to leave. Yeah. Wow. Have you seen in your practice people having issues like with their smart meter?
Not that I've pinpointed specifically, but we do have that conversation every once in a while. Like if I have a tough case, I will often get into that discussion. Where's the EMFs in your home? Do you have a smart meter? Where's your phone? And, try to give them a resource to protect them while they're at home. I have a unit right in my bedroom that's on the opposite side of the wall of my smart meter that they told me I had to have because they don't service the old meters. But of course, it's not hooked to the tower. But I'm still concerned that it's radiating too much because I don't muscle test well when I'm near it. Border Water and Light and Consumer.
So I used to work for Border Water and Light in customer service, and I resigned August 2023 when I started my naturopathic program. My very first class taught us about the dangers of smart meters and the dangers of fluoride.
Yeah.
So I came back to work and I told my coworkers and my bosses everything I learned. We were like doing kind of remotely then, so it was through Microsoft Teams.
Sure.
They all left me on red. No, I resigned. I no longer could morally, like my job was to defend the company to people calling in that smart meters are safe.
Yeah.
And no, they're not.
Right.
No, they're not. And I saw the data of how many people, because like I was with the company in like either 2016 or 2017. So I was with them through the whole time that they were like deploying all the smart meters and installing. So I saw the data and I'm talking to the customers of how many people are causing a ruckus where they want to opt out. And man, I had coworkers that had tinfoil hats on their desk that they would put on to cue to other coworkers that they have a crazy person on the line that doesn't want a smart meter. That was the internal environment through that whole company. It's like that.
Yeah, that's tough.
So I resigned and then
I wouldn't have been able to handle that either.
No, it was bothering me so much. It was causing me so much like depression and whatnot. And then this past, so a year ago, September, the fluoride lawsuit is determined. So after 7 years, it was determined that fluoride.
Well, it is a neurotoxin.
Yeah.
Who thought of that?
So I emailed BWL customer service in the month after, so October, asked him, hey, what's your plans now that this is determined, right, that the levels that you have does pose a reasonable risk? What are you going to do about it?
Right.
And they're like, well, we're waiting for the EPA. I'm like, well, that's the ones that lost this lawsuit because they didn't handle it appropriately.
Right.
So I kept bugging. I'm like, what can I do to like make a change? They're like, well, you could go to the Lansing City Charter Commission and try to advocate for them to add it to the charter to remove fluoride from the water. So I did that. And I got one other girl from my school to come. We presented. One of the commissioners, she said that she agreed, but all the other commissioners didn't say anything. I then tried to arrange a time to have them vote on it. Then they're emailing me and telling me that I have to have the Lansing City Council do this. They're just making it really impossible is what they're doing.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I'm kind of at a standstill, but that is something I want to get back into.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to help you with that because it needs to be done.
Yes.
And enough people have to make a stink is what it is.
Yes.
It can't just be two people or one person. Because they don't really care.
No.
If I'm being honest.
They don't at all.
They really care.
And actually, after I spoke in front of the commission, when it was over, we're all standing at the elevator waiting to like leave the city hall, and the head of Board of Water and Light, Dick Peffley, was at the elevators talking to the legal team that he had brought because they were there. So I like purposely did it on a day that they would already be there presenting a different issue so we can have the whole room be talking about this.
Yeah.
And I overheard him talking to the lawyer about how it actually costs the Board of Water and Light a lot of money to add the fluoride. So if they stop fluorinating the water, they would save money.
Shocker.
Shocker. Yeah.
They got to pay a lot of money for that poison.
Right.
Darn.
And what I'm so frustrated about is, so the Board of Water and Light was the second utility nationally to remove lead pipes.
Mm-hmm.
So they were able to have a proactive stance for that. They could comprehend how important that was.
Yeah.
But when it comes to fluoride, they can't. And
Right.
they said the Board of Water and Light takes no stance. It's because it's a political issue, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we can't afford.
If they take no stance and it costs them a lot of money, then why not be motivated by money?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. So you're right.
So that's my tangent on that. And I would love to get as many people as I can. Yeah. Kind of build a team on this to, make a change.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
How are we doing on time?
Well, we're good. Okay. How long do you want to go?
I've got an hour. Okay, for sure.
Let's talk about Hashimoto's thyroid issues. All right. If you have a client that comes to you, I know muscle testing might say different things depending on the client, but have you found a common occurrence? People have
like root cause? Yeah. It's a lot of time viral and a lot of time toxin. Okay. At the organ. Yeah. Sometimes it can be a scar, right? So women particularly that have had children, if they've had an episiotomy or a C-section, scars can cause a lot of dysfunction in the body. So that's one thing that we would really look for also when we're muscle testing. And
is that because of like the fascia?
It's because of the sympathetic nerve fibers that are in the skin. So they're so tightly woven that if we had no flesh or bones, you could literally see the outline of our body, right? And you create a scar in there. And yes, the skin heals, but do the nerve fibers really heal? And what we've discovered is most of the time, no. Wow. And because those two particular scars cross the meridians of the body, also they cause even more. And so the scar acts like a capacitor to the flow of energy through the skin, or through those nerve fibers. And so it just kind of gets stuck in there, and then it can misfire and cause even more problems, right? So handling all those things, right? And then supporting the thyroid itself to, so for instance, for Hashimoto's, we have a product called, a supplement called Thytrophin PMG. PMG stands for protomorphogen. It's meat pieces in other words. Okay. So it acts as a decoy to the body's attack. So when you have Hashimoto's, you have sick thyroid cells that are leaky, right? The proteins are leaky, and the body will go around and scavenge those up because you got this thyroid protein down here in your lag or whatever. And so, but then autoimmune starts when the body gets over excited about cleaning up and then just starts attacking the thyroid itself. And so what we do is we give the patient a protomorphogen for the thyroid to allow that to be a decoy, all the while also being a building block to repair, to allow the organ to detox better and repair and function better. And this takes time, obviously, time and repetition. But yeah, that's what we do. We look at, it can be a number of things, but I do find viral a lot of time, which means there's a toxin there. Yeah. You can't have that one without the other, in my opinion. Yeah. And scars have been a problem. Mm-hmm.
I remember learning from my mentor, I think she taught me about the dolphin pen, where it uses like a laser on scarring. It's kind of like what you were talking about. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the first time I ever heard of that. I'm like, I didn't even think about that. So if it's a viral issue, what would you say is a common thing that you're giving them to treat the viral part?
Usually a binder. Okay. We use great binders in our office, and it's really helped us to level up in how quickly we can get a sick body well, and handling cases that otherwise would have been a struggle. Yeah. And so since we've used these binders and drainers, you got it, your drainage funnel has to be open. Mm-hmm. in order for you to heal properly. So, the binders and drainers really allow us to do that and clean things up very well.
Do you use brands like Cellcore or
Mhm.
Supreme Nutrition?
Yeah, we use Cellcore a lot. That's my number one go-to if I can. If it tests well, I'm going to use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, for instance, I had this athlete, this ex NBA basketball player.
Nice.
I take care of his sister, so he came to me 7 weeks ago. In fact, I saw him yesterday. It was his 7th visit, and he came to me barely able to stand up. He's taller than tall. I mean, like, he's so tall, which doesn't, a lot of people are tall to me, but he's super tall. And he came to me because he was referred by his sister, and I started him on a protocol. And he was already a pretty clean eater, but he made a few adjustments in how he was eating. He's all in from the start. I didn't have to beg him,
Love that.
I didn't have to be a cheerleader for him. Some of my patients I really have to be a cheerleader for. And so he couldn't hardly stand up. He couldn't walk for more than 15 minutes without pain. He had to sit down. Lying was uncomfortable for him. He'd have to prop himself up. His whole hip would burn and hurt, and his calf, on the side of his calf, would just burn. And so, again, 7 weeks. And yesterday he reported to me that the burning is gone. Well, he's been standing tall since week 3.
Yeah.
Which was great. Been able to walk farther around week 4 or 5, but then he still complained about the burning. And yesterday the burning is gone. He feels amazing. He went to the gym. He's working out. He's feeling great, and he's just ecstatic. And oh my gosh, like, that brings me so much joy, right? Like, this man shouldn't be falling apart at his age. He's retired, obviously, from basketball, but in my mind, I'm like, I'd still want to play if you love the game that much, right? And so now he can play again if he wants. I mean, that's so great.
I love that.
Yeah, that's way better than suctioning, sputum out of a tracheostomy. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, the binders are what helped. I mean, that's what I put him on. I put him on the binders and drainers. His body wasn't draining properly, and then I supported his nerves because his nerves needed support to handle the detox, and he's doing great.
So the binders are helping to pull toxins out of the body to clean.
Yes.
And that really is the root cause of the viral and
that's right
parasites.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of their products, Cellcore, is Virad Chem.
Yes,
binder.
I use that.
So, and they're very smart. Cellcore people are very, very smart, because they know that we don't have that viral expression unless there's a toxin there, right? That part of that is the body detoxing, right? And it's how clean are you and how strong are you physiologically, whether you get sick or not with a viral expression, right? That's just the fact. And so the binders are amazing.
Yeah. I would say my first experience, like during COVID, when it first started and I got COVID, it made my heart hurt, and it kind of scared me. And so that was before doctors were willing to see people because they were scared of everybody.
Yeah.
So I reached out to my friend, and she was like, this is going to sound crazy, but just trust me on it. My cousin's a holistic practitioner. You can do a phone call with her, and she'll do remote muscle testing. And I'm like, what is that? And I was so desperate. I'm like, sure, let me have this woo-woo witchy stuff. I'll try it. And she muscle tested, and I took what she told me to. Within 2 days, all the pain, all the weird feeling in my heart went away. And then I had a similar situation about a UTI, like you group about your daughter, where I had a UTI for a month. I went to the doctor. Your analysis is negative for everything, but they put me on antibiotics. I had an adverse reaction.
Oh dear.
Ended up going to the emergency room. Failed for a month by doctors. I reached to her for desperation, and she's like, why didn't you come to me in the first place? I'm like, I didn't know you could help with this. So she told me to take D-manoids, and within 24 hours, my UTI was completely gone, and I suffered for a month.
Wow. For
a $15 supplement.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I got to learn all this because people need to know this.
They do.
And since then, I've helped so many people prevent like a dramatic UTI from going.
Yeah. I mean, literally, ideally, everyone in the world should learn how to muscle test themselves.
Yes.
Ideally, it's not going to happen, but ideally, and that's why I want my children, another reason why I want my children to learn, because it's a valuable tool. And yes, people like to call it woo-woo, right? It's too weird. They can't wrap their minds around it because they don't understand. And some people don't like the word energy, and they don't understand that we vibrate all the time, and that we have a certain frequency about us. And yet when I tell them, how do you feel around a negative Nancy? Right? You don't like it, right? It's kind of down tone and you don't like it. That's a frequency. And how do you feel when you're around a bubbly person that's, easy to talk to and, they don't understand it. But yet they'll use their cell phone. They have no clue how their cell phone works.
Right.
I can text you and you have no clue how that text gets to you because you can't see it go from point A to point B. There's no line, there's no cord, but they use it. They don't care. Right? But they call what I do weird. And we're okay with weird because we know it works. Right.
Own it.
I mean, that's the number one word that a new patient says when they sit up after they're tested. That was weird. Yep. That's weird. So the whole remote thing, that's even harder for people to wrap their minds around, right? They don't get it. But that has to do with intention. It's you're intending to test that person, so that's who you're testing. That's cool.
That holistic practitioner. She's the whole reason I went down this. I had switched my career path and everything. And I remember when, first it was the COVID, then the UTI, then like the summer after that, I had skin issues that showed up on my face. And it was like, no matter what I did, I went to the dermatologist. They're like, well, we give you an antibiotic cream or a steroid cream or whatever. But they didn't give me a solution. So I went to her. She's like, Mario, parasites. I'm like, what did you just say? Like, it freaked me out. I was not mentally prepared. And then once, I think it was day 2, the cell core is what I took. And I saw it in my stool. And I was like, all right, well, I can't deny this anymore. This is very much real. Like, we have these in us. And that was a huge, like, pivotal moment for me with health.
I've probably trained with that practitioner before, or at least been at, Cellcore's events with her. It's a her, right? Her
name's Rachel. She's mainly lives in Grand Ledge, but I think that they just moved they're living in Wyoming part-time and here, if I remember right. But she's amazing. And I'm finding the same type of person in everybody that goes down this career path. I'm noticing they all have this type of, I don't know, heart, energy, love to them that like normal people don't have.
Really?
Maybe it's because of their awareness is more expanded, and
perhaps
I don't know. But I noticed when I went to my school for the first time for my first class, I felt like overwhelmed emotionally to be in a group of people who think the same way that I do and whatnot, and that sense of very community.
I understand what you mean there, because and that's partly why I do a lot of training. I love being with my colleagues. It's a different kind of energy. Like, you can't even describe it necessarily, but just being around like-minded people that speak your language is really refreshing, especially when, because working with people and their energy, and it's like you get all their juju, right? You have to kind of, at the end of the day, cut it off, get it off of me, right? And so it is really refreshing to be in training, and I love to train. I'm always looking for new opportunities to go train.
Nice.
Because it's fun for me. Not a burden by any means. I'll spend what I got to spend. It doesn't matter.
Do you ever do like one-on-one training with people? I guess I could. What I'm asking is, so I've taken muscle testing class, but I don't feel confident in my ability. I second guess myself.
I can understand that.
So that is a skill that I would like to get stronger with. And have more confidence.
I will tell you, it took me probably the first year of training to even feel confident with the lock.
Yeah.
And that's just me being honest.
Mm-hmm.
It seems so simple, but it can be, you can get your head into it,
Yeah.
right? And that's true for all muscle testing. I'm trained to heart with my patients. So in my mind, I'm not thinking. I'm thinking, but I'm connecting with them heart to heart, so that my beliefs and thoughts don't get in the way.
Yeah.
When I'm testing. So that, it just makes it accurate, right? So, and that in itself makes people think it's woo woo, I think, too. It's just, but it's just the way I was trained, right? Heart to heart, keep your mind out of it. Just do the work, right? Just let the body tell you what it needs. And
yeah, I want to get better at that, because I feel like that's a disservice that I'm not able to, I'm not providing that.
But, to answer your question, I have not done one-on-one training. Would I be willing to? Perhaps, I mean, I've never even thought to do that. But perhaps. I mean, I can certainly lead you to places where you could learn it better for cheaper than what I did.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. Because where I went, it was pretty expensive. Like it took a lot of money and a lot of travel to learn. And that was many years ago, so I'm sure it costs a lot more now.
Yeah. I eventually would like to be able to remote muscle test people. Do you ever feel like, I don't know if this is what I'm experiencing. So I know with muscle testing, you have to wait for like the weakness, right? Do you ever feel like muscle testing, it happens where it'll just come to your mind without having to physically like muscle test? Like you will just know the answer.
I have thought that before, but I haven't proven it to myself before. And so I don't really entertain that too much. Because again, I don't know if it's me getting in my own way or if it's a true, like,
right. If there's something there doing that.
Yeah. So I don't know how to prove that to myself necessarily.
Yeah.
So
I've just had moments where like, I don't know where the answer comes from, but it just comes, and then it almost like is eerie. I'm like, how did I even know that to be true? So I'm wondering if there's some sort of, I don't know what the science is behind that, but
I don't either.
Something seems to be happening there.
Something in the quantum space that's going on, for sure.
Yeah. Well, unless there's anything else you'd like to discuss.
I don't think so, but people can find me at Rassel Daniel Holistic Health Center, as well as Gilead Healing Center. So,
that's the one with the church.
That is over by the church.
I think I just saw on Facebook you're going to be doing something in September.
Yeah, I'm doing a workshop, and they're all free, by the way.
I love that.
Frankenfoods, that's the title of the workshop. So we talk about, food labels and food science and what's going on in the food industry, because people need to know what's going on, So that's always a fun one. Hopefully it'll spark a lot of interest.
Yeah.
Kids going back to school and all the lunches and all the snacks and all the things, parents need to be informed.
Before I let you go, one last question. Do you ever daydream about a holistic health version of healthcare insurance?
Actually, I think that might even be in the works.
I hope so.
If I'm being honest, I've heard little things here and there about that potential, of a whole parallel medical, holistic medical system. And I think there are doctors and nurses and people who are already building that infrastructure. And there are, I think there's already something like an insurance that people could buy to use to see people like me, if that's how they choose to handle their health.
Yeah, that'll be a game changer once that comes out.
Right now it's just HSAs, and if I'm being honest, a lot of HSAs anyway won't allow people to use their own money in the way they want to.
HSA,
like health share account. You work for a corporation, you put the flex spendings. Yeah, they want a medical diagnosis from me and all these things, and They just make it difficult for them
Yeah.
to use their own money in the way they want to, which I think is shameful.
Yeah.
But not surprised by it, but it's
Right.
shameful.
Absolutely.
Well, it was definitely fun talking to
Yeah.
you. I hope maybe we can do this on a monthly basis or something.
Yeah, I'd love
next
that.
time, pick a specific topic and really roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you for coming
All right.
on.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Okay.
Cool. That was fun.
I know, as always, I think it's my hairspray that's making my nose run. So I'm like, I need to find a healthy hairspray. Does that exist?
You know, it used to. Well, yes, there is one woman in town. Her name is Angie.